Welcome. Today we will be covering basic navigation of Freckle Math. If you would like a copy of this presentation, go to go.bcsd.com/FQ9. The learning intention today is to go over what was provided in the previous midday session. There are also several Freckle videos that are short and targeted located on the DFP website. Today we'll learn how to access the Freckle roster that's managed by Renaissance, assign work to students, and monitor student progress. First, we'll be covering how to access your roster that's managed by Renaissance. Student teachers who have students rostered to them now access Freckle through Renaissance Place. This is a really cool feature because now your star data feeds into Freckle and adjusts the student levels. Once you log into Renaissance, you can scroll down and you should have a pink dot right there that says Freckle. If you are an admin user, such as a coach, you will not log in this way. You will go to the employee main page and find the Freckle for Admin tab. You will go to a different site because your Freckle account is not linked to your Renaissance portal at this time. So as a teacher, you will just simply click right here and log into Freckle. If you are a principal, vice principal, or other admin user, you will go to the employee main page and look for the tab that says Freckle for Administrators. You'll click on this and your dashboard should come up with your school listed. If you do not have an admin account and need one, please contact Susan Lopes. Now I'm going to talk about the main components of Freckle. There's adaptive practice, targeted assignments, inquiry-based learning, and benchmark assessments. I'm going to show you from a teacher's view what those look like. When you log into Freckle, you'll notice that there are several different subjects like ELA, social studies, and science as well. Currently, BCSD only has a license for Freckle Math Premium, so that's what we will be focusing on. To the left, you have your dashboard, activity feed, assignments, and roster. If you click on roster, you want to make sure that your roster says managed by Renaissance, because if it doesn't, your star data is not feeding into Freckle and you want that to be happening. So make sure that your roster says managed by Renaissance. Go ahead and log in and check that out. A popular feature in Freckle is the facts practice. You don't have to do anything as far as setup for your students to get started. There are some default settings. For K2, it's addition and subtraction. And then for 3rd through 5th, it's addition, subtraction, as well as multiplication and division. When you get to 6 and up from there, it's all 4 of those plus positive and negative integers. It's perfectly fine to leave the default settings if you want. But say you're a 3rd grade teacher and you want to get started on multiplication sooner. So you can bypass addition and subtraction if you want and just focus on multiplication if that's what you're working on. Or say you're working on division, you can do the same thing. I'll show you how to do that from the teacher end. To assign math facts practice, you're going to need to go to math content and scroll down. You'll see fact practice. You can go ahead and hit assign. That will bring up your students. As you can see, all the students are selected, but you can select certain students or the whole class. I'm going to stick with the whole class. You can select your operations. If you want to focus just on multiplication or division, you can choose that. You're able to assign it immediately or for the future. If you assign immediately, it automatically names it for you. So if you want to call it something different, you're going to hit Customize Title. So now that I've customized the title, I don't have to share it with my students because when they log in, it will be there under their From My Teacher tab. But if I want to, I can either copy the link or I can put it in Google Classroom. Now, if you put it in Google Classroom like this, it just gives them a link. They will still have to sign in, but this way it gives them a link to get in. And if they're signed into their BCSD account, it will push them through. But like I said, you don't have to share it with them. If you just assign it, it will come up in their From My Teacher section when they log in. Another component of Freckle Math is the adaptive practice. Now, this is adaptive based on their STAR scores. So for kindergarten and first, they don't have STAR math scores, so it pretty much just starts them off at the lowest level. You do not have to do anything for students to complete adaptive practice, but just like the math facts, you can assign them to a domain. The adaptive practice is based on domains such as operations and algebraic thinking, numbers in base 10, depending on your grade level. I'm going to show you what it looks like from the teacher view. Adaptive practice lets the students practice a domain at their own level. For example, if you are working on numbers in base 10 and you're a fourth grade teacher, but you have students who are at a second grade level, it will adjust down to their level. So to do that, it's a lot like how you do the math facts. So from the main screen of math content, you go to adaptive pathway and you're going to click assign. Again, you can pick specific students or the whole class. Here's where you pick your domain, and it lists all of them. A popular one is base 10, so I'm going to pick that, and it is the same process. Assign immediately, base 10 at your level. You can call it something else if you'd like. Like I mentioned before, you do not have to assign this to students. You can tell them to go to the adaptive pathway, and I believe on the students' end, that is the car symbol. The way you can find out where the students' levels are is by going to reports and math levels. So here you can go by domain and look at your class. If I go to base 10, my whole class comes up. Now, say you have a situation where maybe a student had too much help at home from a parent or an older sibling, and their adaptive level shot up really high, like 7th grade, and now the student can't complete any of the work. You can go on and adjust their level. You just go to that student and click on the pencil and then put what level you think they should be. Assigning targeted practice to students is where you would assign your core grade level. So say you're working on division, you would find that standard and assign a mini ticket, an exit ticket, or a short 10-question quiz to the students. I am going to show you how to do that from the teacher account. You will start at the math content page, and if you scroll down, you can click on targeted math practice and assign. Now, just like with the adaptive practice and the facts practice, you can choose your whole class or just certain students. Scroll down, and this time you will choose a standard, a specific standard. So you're going to start with your domain and then your standards. And then it will give you the focus skill in that standard. From there, you can choose a mini ticket, an exit ticket, or a regular practice, which is 10 questions. I'm going to pick the exit ticket, and then you're able to preview what those questions look like. And it's going to show you all of the questions. If you don't like them, you can change them. It tells you how the students need to answer it. This is a really neat feature. This is the support settings, and you can say you want all students below grade level to have that support, or maybe you want none of the students to have the support, or all of them. This basically gives them a little bit of scaffolding, a little walkthrough video before each skill, and it also gives them little hints. It does annoy some students, so if you find that that happens, you want to turn it off for certain students. And once you're satisfied with your exit ticket, you can assign immediately or assign for future. Since we've assigned immediately on the past two, let's assign for the future. And the only difference is you pick a date. You can also customize the title and share just like with the previous two. When your students have finished, you will go up to assignments, and for the targeted practice, it will give you a report. So you can show which students have finished the assignment and what their scores are. This was just a practice one. We only had one student do it and we were just practicing, so they didn't get any correct. But this is where your scores will show up. If you click this arrow, you can see exactly what they did, how many they attempted, what percentage they got by student. Listed on the slide deck, but it's just a really cool feature in Freckle is the inquiry-based lessons. I didn't include those because at the midday session, I was kind of up against the clock. But if you want to look at those, they're right here. They're called inquiry-based lessons. And so you would hit generate. Now you can narrow it down by grade level, all the way first through algebra. I'm going to pick fourth. And right here, there's a lesson on perimeter that deals with the gold rush. And if you're a fourth grade teacher, you know that they talk a lot about California history in fourth grade, and the gold rush is a big part of that. So it's kind of cool that those standards get incorporated into it. So if you want to check out the lesson, you just click here on Review Lesson. And it gives you basically the lesson and slides, and it also gives you the ability to assign the video. They are typically 3 or 4 days. As you can see, this one is 3 days, and you are able to access an inquiry sheet. I think you could do this virtually and just snap a picture of the inquiry sheet. And you can assign the students the inquiry-based lesson videos. It gives the teachers a slideshow as well. And the students don't have access to the slideshow, they just have access to the videos. And lastly, today we are going to talk about monitoring student progress. In Freckle, it's very easy to see how your students are doing by looking at the activity feed, the assignment reports, and the math level reports. I'm going to show you a quick few ways to show how your students are doing. Lastly, for today, we are going to look at monitoring student progress. If you click on Standards, you'll see just a quick snapshot of how your students are doing. Now, in this teacher account, we don't have very much data, but as you can see, this is a 4th grade class, and it shows you where there's no data, where there's working towards proficiency, and if 70% of the class is proficient. And you can see by the little circles, it goes by domain. So that's just a quick snapshot. Another way is to go to reports. And here you can see the math levels report. And you can click on the different levels, for example, fractions. And it's going to show you where the students are based on their star score. And if you notice, it gives this little arrow up or down, and that means that it was updated by the star score. So you can check out by domain, and you can also check by student. If you want to see how your students are doing on facts practice, you can go to the fact practice and you can look at the last 3 months. It'll show how much time the students have spent, how many questions they've answered, and even how many coins they've earned. And for those of you who don't know, coins are a big deal with Freckle because the more coins students earn, the more time they get to spend in the piggy store, which is a good time. Hopefully you are successfully able to navigate the basic components of Freckle. It's a great tool. If you would like some more in-depth training, there are some resources on the DFP website, and they are shorter, targeted videos that take you step by step through the process. Thanks for learning with us today.